Chapter 13 on family stress, crisis, and resilience. So here's the chapter outline. Americans are stressed about so many things: money, gun violence, terrorism, discrimination, our health, among many other things. So we can think of families as continually balancing the demands that are put against them throughout society. Let me share with you an example of a family stress that we have experienced. Our son, after college, got married, had a wonderful job. Within the first few years of his marriage, he moved up twice in his job positions. And a few years after this, he and his wife were talking about beginning a family, and he learned that his wife really did not want a family after all. His second position had involved more travel, and they knew this when he took the job. But once they were talking about having a family, his wife had already raised two younger siblings, and she said she did not want to raise a family alone because of the travel. So this led to an eventual divorce. Our son then was offered a position with a family member, which we highly recommended against, but it was a good opportunity he saw, so he took the job. And soon after, he found another wonderful young woman, and after dating for about a year, they learned that they were expecting, and so they did get married, which was fine because they would have eventually gotten married anyway. They just got married a little sooner. But his job took a turn for the worse. It was very, very stressful, and so while he was trying to find another job, he was let go. And then they, about that same time, had another child. So within a very short time, he did find a wonderful job. They moved and they had this other child. So talk about stress. And not only stress for my son, but also for his parents, because when children are stressed, the parents become stressed as well. I guess the moral to this story is all that ends well is well, because he is very happy with his new job. They live in a wonderful community, and he has two wonderful sons and a very good marriage. The difference between family stress and crisis. Stress is a state of attention that arises when demands test or tax a family's capabilities. So I would say my son's experience would be stress. Family crisis is a situation in which the usual behavior patterns are ineffective and new ones are called for immediately. So a crisis would be maybe an unexpected death, a tornado, those types of situations. Crisis involves change. It includes a turning point with the potential for positive or negative effects, or sometimes both. Is a time of relative instability. So types of stressors: addition of a family member, that's a positive. So many stressors can be positive. Getting married is positive, but is it stressful? Yes. Loss of a family member. An ambiguous loss is when you're uncertain if that family member is really gone. So that can create family boundary ambiguity, where there's confused perceptions about who is in or who is out of a particular family. So a divorce could be a good example of this, and children not knowing who is in their life or who is out of it. Sudden unexpected change, ongoing family conflict, caring for a dependent, ill, or disabled family member, demoralizing events such as being bullied, daily family hassles, yes, who's cooking the meals, doing the laundry, all of those things can be stressful. And then anxieties about children in a culture of fear. Stressor overload occurs when it's not just one thing, but it's a series of things. So, for example, get a car repair bill. You are told by your boss that you're going to have fewer work hours. Your child becomes sick. You overdraw your bank account. Each one of those things by themselves would not be that bad, but when you add them all up, it is stressor overload. So when a family has a crisis, you look at the event that's caused the crisis. So let's take a tornado. Then there's the period of disorganization. Okay, you have to figure out what you need, and so you become very disorganized. Routines are not normal anymore. Some members do see that this can strengthen family relationships, so good can come from all things. Then after the disorganization, then a period of reorganization and recovery happens. We basically have two types of families. Those that are vulnerable, those are the ones that have difficulties, function less effectively before the onset of additional stressors or demands. So extra stressors or demands makes it even more challenging for that family. And then resilient families, they're the ones that are capable of doing well in the face of adversity. They have more financial resources, often more emotional support within friends and family. So after that onset of crises, the period of disorganization begins. Habitual roles slump, routines become confused, members carry out roles with less enthusiasm. Then at the nadir, or the very low point of family disorganization, conflicts may develop over who and how to handle the situation. And once the crisis hits bottom, a recovery period sets in. Your book talks about the ABCX model. So you have the A, the stressor, interacting with B, the family's ability to cope, along with C, the family's appraisal of the stressor event. And that can often produce the crises. So it states that the stressor interacts with the family's ability to cope. And when a family has lack of resources to cope well, then that can result in a crisis. The double ABCX model, basically a pile up. So it includes not just the stressor, but also previously existing family strains and future hardships. So if the family is already a single parent, then a crisis, added stresses make it even more difficult for that family. So this shows how out of balance a family stress or crisis can be during the adjustment and adaptation period, but eventually the family will adapt and become more balanced over time. And then the last slide, the term that I want to draw to your attention is called reframing. That's redefining stressful events to make them more manageable. And this is associated with more positive family functions. So we just sometimes have to take a step back, look at the situation, see that it maybe can be a positive situation, see the good that can happen, and then move forward. I'll let you look at the rest of the slides on your own.